My question is, we know that if a person masturbates while fasting, his fast breaks because of ejaculation, right? So
Correct.
what if a person have any bad thought, or he watches something haram and then he ejaculates, unintentionally ejaculates? So would that break his fast or not?
This is an issue of dispute among scholars whether a person who ejaculates during the daytime of Ramadan without any action, just fantasizing. So some scholars say that because he did not act upon it, these intrusive thoughts, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that Allah has forgiven my ummah for my sake for whatever intrusive thoughts that cross their minds, as long as they do not act upon it nor speak about it. And in either way, the man who's, or the person who's fantasizing or thinking of something and then all of a sudden ejaculates, if there is such a person, he's in big trouble. But if there is such a person, then the scholars say that this does not impact his fasting because he did not do anything action wise. So it's like a nocturnal emission, as if he was asleep. But if he's watching haram, and this is an action by itself, so this breaks his fasting, and Allah knows best. From Denmark is asking about masturbation. And we know that masturbation is a sinful act. And when done during fasting and ejaculating, this leads to breaking of the fast. So he's asking, if a person had fallen in such a filthy sin, what is expiation of that? The answer is, this is a frequently asked questions, because a lot of the Muslims usually think that doing such a filthy sin during the time of Ramadan would mean that they have to fast 60 days, 2 consecutive months. And this is a misconception. If you break your fasting, whether by eating, drinking, or masturbating, you have to make up for that day after repenting and asking Allah for forgiveness and showing extreme and sincere remorse. But the 60 days or the 2 consecutive months are the penalty for a person who has sexual intercourse during the daytime of Ramadan. So this is different than masturbating, and I hope this answers your question. I've heard some people talking about this openly. In the tafsir of Surah Al-Ma'arij, what if someone indulges in extremely filthy acts during fasting by himself, which requires him to do ghusl? What is the kafara for that? This is in referral to masturbation. And masturbation, according to the majority of scholars, is prohibited. It's an act of transgression, and a Muslim must avoid this. Does it impact his fasting? Definitely it does. It breaks your fast. Is there any expiation for that? The answer is no. The expiation is only for intercourse. But it is sinful, it voids and nullifies your fasting, and you have to repent to Allah Azza wa Jal and make up for that. The issue of masturbation, Khalid is asking about a person who is far away from his family and he's a bit frustrated and sometimes he's under pressure. So is it permissible for him to use what is known as a secret habit or masturbation to relieve himself a little bit, or relieve himself, whatever? The answer is, it's an issue of dispute. But the majority of scholars say that it is not permissible. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he was addressing the youth, he said, Ya ma'shar al-shabab, man istata'a minkum al-ba'a falyatazawwaj. Whoever is capable financially and physically to get married, he should do so. And whoever is not able to do so, that is to get married, then he should fast. And he did not direct them to masturbating, which means that the Prophet would not direct us except to the best, and whatever else is not, then it is not a part of the sunnah, and it might even be more than that. And this is why Allah mentioned this in Surah Al-Mu'minun and Surah Al-Ma'arij, where he says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ إِلَّا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون. And those who preserve and keep their chastity and private parts except from their wives and their concubines. And whoever seeks anything else, meaning masturbation, then he is a transgressor. So scholars say that doing so, that is masturbation, is considered to be part of the transgression that a person should avoid. Now, in very minimal cases, very rare cases, it might be permissible if the doctors, for example, say that it's a must. So if a person is in a medical condition and he has to undergo tests, lab tests for one reason or the other, or the doctor says that you have to do this procedure now because it has reached a level that would harm you, in this case it's permissible. But to open it and say that it's completely permissible as long as you are far away from your wife, this would be an act of transgression, despite the fact that it is physically harmful and it has bad consequences on the relationship between the spouses. I'm afraid that who cannot fast, how can he protect himself from zina? He has to stay away from the means that would provoke his lust and desire. So he has to lower his gaze. He has to cut completely TV, internet, where he sees pictures of women, etc. Not to look at women and desire them. And he has to try to engage himself in beneficial things, in halal things, such as playing sports, such as occupying himself by reading, surrounding himself with righteous and practicing Muslims 24/7. Masturbation is haram in Islam, and it's a form of transgression as described in the Quran.